And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster and I'm touching base with you as I do every day. How are you all doing? It is Motivation Monday, so be prepared to be motivated. And today we're going to talk about, we are talking about where do you stand? Where do you stand? That's going to be our Motivation Monday topic. And I know if you're like me, you probably had an amazing weekend. I did so much this weekend. My weekend really began on Friday, really began on Thursday. My buddy came in from out of town, crashed on my sofa for the whole weekend. Well, up until Sunday. Yep, until Sunday morning. And he had a retreat here in New York and he wanted to come down and enjoy that. So I said, sure, no problem. The sofa is available to you. And so one of my buddies, and we've been friends for like more than 30 years. And it was just good to just catch up and talk. And I was sharing about my move and what's happening and all the things that are going on. He was like, I won't have a sofa to sleep on in New York. I said, well, I depends on how fast this apartment sells. But guys, a potential buyer is coming to visit. Oh, what's that on there? What's that? What's that little lint ball? Sorry about that. A potential buyer is coming to visit the house. I won't be here, obviously, because you're not supposed to be here when they have the showing. But yeah, there's a potential buyer, and house has not even been put on the market yet. So again, I am. We'll see what happens this week. Yeah, there's a lot happening this week, so I'm excited. And also, I spent the weekend cleaning up. I did some cleaning up this morning. I broke down my lights that were here in the studio area. So I broke those down to make the space bigger. I cleared all the plants away from the windows so that they can enjoy the views. So, because that's what's going to sell the apartment. That's what's going to sell the apartment. Okay, I see in the building. Is I, are we being sent out? Did notifications go out? Is only one or two people in the building right now? What's going on? I don't understand. We are we being banned or what do you call it? Ritual banned or something like that, where they slow down your feed? I don't know what's going on. Is anybody out there? Anybody out there? Anyway, I see Hannah. Hannah is always in the building early. And she says, good morning, Ron and Touch Base Daily family. I see you, Hannah. And G says hi to Hannah. And then I see G's in the building. She said, it's Monday, Ron. I guess. Hello. Well, at least look, even if I'm here by myself, I'm still going to be here. I'm going to still show up. Even if I'm just talking to myself, I'm going to show up. And because at some point, someone will listen to this video. Yeah. So, what else is going on? How did you guys spend your weekend? What did you do special for yourself? What did you do special for yourself this weekend? Let's see what's going on the Instagram world. Anyone in Instagram? I see SHAC is in the building. How are you over in Instagram? Okay. Yeah. It's a Monday morning. I know one thing here in New York, it is beautiful. The weather here is going to be in the 70s. Now, the weather this weekend was not cooperative. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't cooperative either. So on Saturday, we had predictions of thunderstorms all day. It didn't happen. I mean, I was inside the photography show. So it could have happened. I just didn't see it. But however, when it was time for me to go home, as I left the event center, I saw the lines of thunderstorms coming in on the map, and I said, "Uh-oh, Ron, you got to try to make it home." And didn't realize that my radar was on a 5-minute delay, or maybe 6-minute delay, and so what it was showing was already had happened. So it was closer than I thought. And then I got on the bike. I said, let's ride back home to Brooklyn. And the dark clouds just came closer and closer. And out of nowhere, the sky opened up. And I found myself under an awning of a building waiting for the rain to stop. So it was thunderstorms and it did storm, but I'm not sure how much it did it during the day. And then yesterday was another crazy weather day because all day we had winds that were 40 miles gusts all day long yesterday. So it would be calm and then out of nowhere, 40-mile-an-hour winds just swooping in. So it was that kind of weekend, but it was fun. I had a great time at the photo photography show sponsored by AIPAD. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. And you probably saw some of my videos. We'll look at some of them. We'll look at some of them. And today's a photography day. We're just going to talk photography, talk about us. I was talking to Chris this morning. I said, Chris, you know, I know people are worn out about Trump. So we're going to try to talk less about Trump these days. When it comes to things that are important, we'll still talk about it. But there's so much more to talk about. So much about photography, so many things that happen around the world outside of America. There's also our crafts, what we do, what we're creating, what we're promoting. So that's where we're going to be putting our focus for the next. I said, you know what? It hasn't been 100 days yet. And it has been. I am worn out with the orange clown. Anyway, Gwendolyn says, like I said, I have my YouTube shows on my calendar is better than alerts. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And she also said, date night on Saturday and we watch Sinners. Ooh, how was it? Gee, how was it? I know you can give me a real, if you want to pop on, you can. I can send you an invitation. I would love to hear it. But obviously without sharing with the plot of the story. But I didn't send any invitations out this morning, but I'll send some out now. Here we go. Let me send some out just in case you want to come on. I mean, I know you're probably busy right now because it was not planned, but G is always on. She's the first. She's like on the list, always here. And I see Jazzy in the building too. So now Jazzy's on my list as well. So I can just send Jazzy hearts as well. So there we go. I sent Jazzy and Gwendolyn in case they want to pop on. Who knows? Like I said, it's all of us. It's just us hanging out. We're just having a good time. We are having a good time here. And I would love to hear about Sinners. My friends. Oh, yes. Let me tell you what also happened. So Friday night, I was invited to a dinner. It was on the Upper East Side. It was in a beautiful apartment of an artist here in New York. He did some art for the school that I do the interior design for. So the principal of the school says, Ron, I think it would be nice if you come to our dinner. It was a small, quaint dinner. Got to meet the artist and his husband. And I got to spend time with the principal and the staff of the school. And we laughed and we had so much fun. It was great. We just had a good time. And I was talking to her. I said, are you guys need any fundraising this year for the graduating seniors? So she says, we're gonna get the numbers together. And I said, yeah, my community, some of the people in the community ask, how can we support the people that are graduating at the school? So I said, the community has not forgotten you guys. And so anyway, we just had a good time. We were laughing. We talked about Charlie Brown. We talked about Winnie the Pooh. We talked about arts. We talked about life in the city. We talked about his apartment, artwork, creatives. I had a great weekend. I have to tell you, Thursday for my buddy coming down, Friday hanging out with friends and colleagues. And then Saturday out at the show. I was at the show on Friday. I was at the show on Saturday. I was at the show Sunday. And then I got to meet so many cool people at the show, at the photo show. Bryson says, "What's up, Ron? What's up, RLP fam? What's up, everybody? Happy Money Making Monday. We're less than 10 days of Met Gala, the Black Met Gala, super fine tailoring black style. If anyone's listening out there and they need a photographer for this event, give me a call, slide into my DMs. I can make space on my calendar. That would be an honor to go to the wonderful Met Gala. I've always said one day I'm going to do the Met Gala. You know what I believe? If you put it in the atmosphere, if you put it in the world, it will happen. So maybe this is the year. What an amazing testimony would that be? 1 week before, and I put out into the universe, and then something happens, and then I'm now next week hanging out in the Met. Anything's possible. Anything is possible. So anyway, I hear footsteps at my door again. I hear footsteps. Wait. What's that? Oh, it paused. Hold on. Wait, let's play it again. Let's see. I hear someone. Oh, yes, there's someone at the door. There's someone at the door right now. Okay, let's go check it out. It's Gwendolyn.
God bless. Oh my God.
And I want y'all to know, I feel very special. Anytime Gwendolyn is here in her robe, that means it's a special moment because that means she sacrificed her me time to be with our time.
You know, I got up this morning. Okay, so let me just tell you really quick. Date night was Saturday.
Yes.
But for photographers, you know, we have Texas school happening this week, and it's a week long of continuing education.
Wow.
None of the classes that they were having this year appealed to me, so I didn't sign up. But my friends are in town. So I was like, I need to go see my friends. I will drive to see my friends.
Yes, you will.
So
and get on a plane.
Yes. So we were out for like a little bit last night. What time did I get in? 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. And I did have a job this morning, a video shoot. But the young lady said last night, somewhere in between me drinking and whatnot, she's like, hey, can we do a different day? I was like, oh, Lord, thank you. Because I am I was like, I didn't feel like getting up this morning. So that worked out. I mean, I'm working on other stuff for her.
Uh-huh. But don't you like when that
happens?
happens? When you are I mean, well, it's so funny because I had a project and didn't know I was gonna have surgery. And at the end of the month was this project. And then the client says, Ron, don't worry about it. We're gonna move that to May. Don't worry about it. So, and I was like, really? Thank you, Lord.
Yeah, I was like, thank you. I was like, okay, so we can do Wednesday. We can do Wednesday. That's fine. That's fine with me. I have other work to do for her, but it was good to have that. So yeah, on Mondays, you know, it's my admin day. So we get up and get like a lot of stuff done before we get into other things. You know, we had the charity event for the food bank on Friday, so those pictures have to be edited. So there's a lot of work to get done on Monday, but we are still, I mean, I am clothes. I mean, I have my PJs on, but I like the robe. The robe is comfy. I should do a whole series on like robe life. It's like, this is living right here.
Robe, you know, I have a Ralph Lauren robe in my bathroom that's been sitting there. I don't use it like I should. And it's been I've had that Ralph Lauren robe for 30, maybe 40 years. It's a real old, it's like, I mean, it's white and it's still white. It still looks good. And it has
it's still white.
It has the RL, you know, the Ralph Lauren crest on it because also it had the RL because my name was Ron Lewis. So I had I always get the RLs. And so anyway, you know how
I understand.
Anyway. And it sits in the bathroom. However, if I'm feeling like I need a hug, a robe can give you that experience of the hug.
Yeah. Well, you know, there is a whole category of loungewear right? So there are your nighttime clothes, but there is also lounge wear that you literally just lounge around in.
Yeah.
So, you don't have to wear your gown and whatnot, but if you are in your gown, you can do that,
Wait a minute. Hold up. Pause it. Mama is in the building.
Yeah, I saw that. I said,
Mama
oh,
is
mama
in the
here.
building. Gwendolyn's mom is in the building, y'all. What's up? Hi,
Mother's
Mama.
here. I know. I'll be seeing her soon enough.
Yes,
I'll
Mama
be
in the building. That's
I'll be
Mama.
in Houston
That
soon
is that
enough.
is she. Wise
Yeah.
and great one.
Mama, I say this all the time because she she is a retired minister, which is why I am the way that I am, right? But I remember during my very, very tough times when I wanted to walk out of my job. Literally, I think I walked out twice when I was in New York City. I was like, Mama, I need a verse. In fact, I need a whole sermon right here, right now. She's like, okay, hold on. And so she would talk me off the ledge, and I'd go back inside and get myself together. And for those who allowed it, because I would ask, I was like, hey, is it okay if I share with you something that is spiritual in nature? And they would say, yeah. I was like, here is the deal. And I would get them so far. And then I would say, you need to call my mama real quick. Talk to you. And there have been old colleagues who have called my mother on their lunch break or afterwards, and she would just, have that conversation. So, what can I tell you?
Hey,
Like
we
I said, I
preach.
could have been a preacher, but I cuss too much.
But you're a preacher kid. You're a preacher kid.
I'm a preaching kid.
Yes.
But no, so we did go see Sinners.
Yes.
We did see Sinners. It's awesome. It is beautiful.
I heard is awesome.
It is beautiful. I'm gonna go back a second time.
Whoa!
So I can get all the, you got to go back and see it a second time so you can get all the things. But if I may, because it's Monday.
Yes.
It is Monday. It does not surprise me that certain persons are trying to downplay the excellence of Ryan, right? The same way that they are working extra hard to downplay the excellence of Deion Sanders.
Oh, see, Gwen.
You know I was going there, Ron.
Gwendolyn.
You know I was going there because let me say something real quick. You and I just had this conversation.
Woo!
For the people who cannot get us out of their mind, we are their inconvenient truth. And even though they want so badly to whitewash this history, you cannot get rid of this Black excellence. And how dare these men show up in their excellence, their God-given excellence.
Excellent.
And how dare they not be humbled for them given an opportunity. Just say that you're mad that this kid. So let's just start with what's his name? Shadur? Is it Shadur? Is that the one? Because there's Shiloh, and let's just start with that. He comes in. Now, the kid has made mad money from his NIL, which I believe is appropriate, because if you're going to take these kids and exploit them for your college, at least pay them.
That's how those extra wings get built on college
campuses. At least let them get their money, because you're making money off of them physically, right? So yeah, he comes in with his chains and his hat, and he's got his, he's Deion Sanders' kid. He's going to be who he is. He is confident. His daddy has let him know, look, this is who you are, plain and simple. And they were like, well, he didn't interview well, and I'm just not so sure about his tape. And I was like, cut it out. Cut it out. You guys hate to see it. You hate to see that you don't have your traditional NFL draft story where there is some young Black man who is his whole entire life has struggled, and this NFL job is going to help get him out of the ghetto. And we're just so thankful, massively so thankful. Man, cut it out. Ain't nobody got time for this. Ain't nobody got time for it. Well, and they hate it.
Well, the whole thing, we'll go back to Sanders, but Sinners, when we were at the dinner table on Friday night, several of the people had gone to see it. And they also said the same thing. They said, we're going back to see it again. I was like, wait a minute. Wait. They were like, Ron, it's a reason why people gave it 100 tomatoes.
Yes.
100, which is rare to get 100. And they were telling me of all of the messages and the messages of Black history woven in every line, in every scene, in every song, in every movement, and every like the backdrops and the acting and the cars and the everything had
There's
a
a lot.
symbol. Talk
There's a
about
lot in there.
and they would, and so I was hanging out with teachers. So, you know, this is a Friday night dinner with a bunch of educators. Lord have mercy. They were in. They were like, and Ron, it was this. And you remember Langston Hughes and remember this person and remember they were going through all of these amazing Black writers and authors and civil rights leaders and different periods of time and lynchings and they I was feel just hearing from them what they saw. So I am going this week. I'm just getting my mindset for my event on Wednesday.
Oh, I get
But
you.
after Wednesday's event, Thursday, I am in an IMAX theater in Manhattan. I'm going to the biggest one we have. They said you have to see it on IMAX. So all my friends are like, don't see it on a regular screen. Go to an IMAX theater. So anyway, I just had to throw that in this because Elise says she's going to see it again as well.
Yeah, and it's not scary. I jumped a time or two.
Yes.
Right? Because it does do that, but it's not. But you know, if you I don't know how to because of all the messages in there.
Yeah.
You know, there is so much to be discussed. I will let you see it first, and then we can always come back.
But also, I saw the interview last night. Who interviewed him? It was an interview on one of these networks, and they were saying that they were praising him because he was able to, after 25 years, have the rights to his film.
His work, you know, Ron. First of all, there is so many topics that can come from just this one movie and everything around it, right? Everything around it. And his deal is, in my opinion, legendary. It is legendary, right?
I'm sending Elise invitation.
You sending her? Oh, sweet. If you just think about it, I go back to this when people tell these stories, these other narratives that, you know, Black movies don't sell, people don't want to see this, people don't want to see that. First thing first, you can always talk with your dollars.
There you go. There you go.
And if you are yourself, consistently, authentically yourself, those opportunities will always show up for you. There's a reason why he got the deal he got. There's a reason why.
Yeah.
Right? It's very simple. And people want to work with him. People want to. Is that the doorbell? Lord bless.
Doorbell rang. That means someone's coming on.
I'm not gonna.
What's up, Jazzy? What's up, Jazzy?
That scared me. I just turned and looked at something. And I was like, "Oh."
Jazzy said, "Wait a minute, that's my door."
He's like, "Wait."
How's everyone?
Go ahead, Gwendolyn.
No. I was just saying that, you know, when you are true to yourself,
yes,
and you stick to that. You and I talk about it in regards to photography.
Sorry to do this to you again, Gwendolyn. Sorry to do it again. Wait for it. Oh, sorry. There we go. There's someone else at the door. I hear them coming.
Oh, Lord of mercy. Oh my God.
Elise.
I know.
Go ahead, Gwen. I'm sorry. No more door, folks.
So in regards to like knowing your worth, all right,
Yes.
there will be times where you have to walk away, and so many of us feel as
Yes.
if I will never get the chance.
Yes.
So I take the very first door that opens versus saying, I don't believe this is the best deal I can get, or this probably won't serve me. I'm going to say no and walk away.
Mm.
Right. And so it's a change of mindset that he knows exactly what he's worth. He understood the product that he puts out on a consistent basis, and he went for it. So for those who are creatives, you got to get to a place of this isn't the last time that something may cross my path. This one is not the right one. Let that train go.
Listen, I love what Lisa says right here. She says, right? How dare he come to the draft not needing to escape poverty? He is a strong, confident, talented Black man, and they can't stand it. Don Lemon went off this morning. He was, I mean, I can't wait to see his Substack. He was reading from his Substack, and because it was trending they say all day yesterday, all online of this bias, because when you got the Manning family, it's all beautiful, it's elite. It's supposed to be celebrated because why? Just put the pictures next to each other. One is brown and the other is white. But Black kids, Black young folks is if you we know this for the fact it's always been the case.
Always.
For instance, you go into the office with your boss that's not enlightened, and an incident happened on the floor where you worked or in the office building, and you have a conversation with your boss, and they go, "Oh, stay calm, don't get loud. Oh, be calm. What? You're getting emotional, and we're just talking." I always go like this: "You haven't seen me get emotional. This is my talking voice. You have not seen me get emotional. You have not seen me angry. I ain't gonna ever give you that opportunity. But if you happen to get it, you'll know when it's happening." But how many times do Black people always calm down? And we're not even screaming, we're not yelling, we're not doing any of that stuff. We're just having a conversation. We're pointing out something that is an injustice or something that was done wrong or unfair. Anyway, ladies are in the building. What's up, Elise? What's up, Jazzy? Soul sisters.
I have. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I said hello.
Oh, hi. The whole Shador thing, I think it's crazy to me, right? Because what I really see happen, or what I really saw happen in that situation, was a lot of people were thinking it was about Shador, and it had nothing to do with Shador or Shiloh. What it really was about was Dion. And what they're trying to do is humble specifically Dion. And they were the byproducts of trying to humble Dion, right? Because what a lot of people were saying in the background, allegedly, whatever, is that they didn't necessarily want Shador because of how they thought Dion was going to overpower what they were trying to do. So for me, I'm like, it's ridiculous what they did. It really was, because to me, they just showed their hand and really showed out and made it about Shador and made it. And honestly, I kind of feel bad about the people that were in the draft, right? Because now this draft turned all into Shador, Shador, Shador. There were plenty of people that had their dreams kind of overlooked because of all the madness that they caused with this.
Yes.
And did they need to humble Dion? No, they didn't.
No.
Dion has always been flashy. That is his personality.
But that's why they wanted him also back in the day.
Well, exactly. I think that's what, maybe because I've been and I've seen him. He used to play for Washington, right? And when he was here, that was actually an issue with him, right? happiness in the problem. So I think a lot of times when I'm looking at it right now, I'm just like, they're trying to make sure that his sons aren't that way. But the reality is they showed up as themselves. They weren't, to me, I like when people were like, they were overconfident, they were overdoing it, I'm like, Shador was flashy, yeah, but at the same time, if you listen to his interviews, he was very, honestly, I hate the word humble because I don't like that. Like, I feel like you be yourself. He just knew his worth, right? So standing in it and knowing your worth and understanding who you are, I think that made it so they could latch on to that narrative. And I just don't like how they latched onto that narrative and just kept it moving and made it all about him, when really what they're trying to say is it wasn't really him. It was his dad that they were trying to humble, which I think is ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But my whole thing is, for me, I'm like, Shiloh, Shador, show out, show that they tried to humble you and keep it moving, because they know their worth and they're going to do well in the league. I just thought the whole thing was ridiculous. And the NFL social media team was definitely playing games, because some of the stuff they were posting over the weekend, I was like, okay, now you're kind of driving this circus around this, and it's ridiculous. It just became ridiculous. So I don't know. I thought it was silly. So
I think the NFL saw it as an opportunity for publicity.
Yes.
They were just playing, you know, I mean, the thing is in the world is any publicity is good publicity.
Well, that's what the orange man used to say all the time, the orange crayon.
Yeah. And they definitely were trying to humble their father.
Yes.
I told my husband, I said, this is about their dad. This is not about them. And so, but their father always, you know, when you look at Deion's comments, it's like, and I even had this discussion with my daughter about young men who went to Morehouse. When you see their confidence, you call it arrogance or conceit. When all it is confidence and belief in themselves, and knowing who they are and what they're capable of doing. That's all it is. But it's okay for other people to come out and be confident like that, as long as but when you come out and that's who you are, they kind of label you that way. We do it within our own people. Like, we will do that. Like, oh, they're so arrogant. No, they're confident. They believe in themselves. And so that's where you have to be careful. And I think that's what happened to them. And you have a lot of people now saying, look, don't go and buy their stuff on the NFL. Just go to their website and buy their stuff. And don't buy it from the NFL business side. So, you know, I came on here because y'all were talking about sinners too.
We can go back to, I will say this. We can
always go back to sinners as well.
The commentators that I was watching this weekend were using their code term, and that was distractions. That, you know, Shador comes with distractions. Just say it's distractions. That's okay. Y'all can say it. We all know it.
Just say what it is.
We all know it. It was like, they don't want to deal with distractions. It's like, cut it out. Like, just full stop. But the prank phone call.
Yeah.
That. I thought to myself, this is why I tell Ron what I tell Ron. There are people who absolutely want so badly to be Black. They want all this rhythm. They don't want the blues. You want to be cute. You want to be able to dance on rhythm and keep beat. You want to be able to season your food and not put raisins in your potato salad. You want that so bad, but you don't want to deal with what comes with that.
Yes.
Right? The fact that you have this kid who just happened to get his daddy's iPad and make a prank phone call because you're jealous. Own it. You can own that you're jealous. It's okay. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. But just own that. Because if anybody, like there was one place that said this 21-year-old kid, 21 is not a kid.
No, it's not.
No.
It's how you want to tell the story. Oh, it was just a prank call. It's not that serious. See, you want someone to humble, embarrass, and put this kid in his place.
Yes.
Because that's how jealous you are. How simple, mediocre. Pick any other words. Pick any of them. Just own it, though. But, I mean, like, it's 2025. We have a felon as the president. Y'all can go ahead and say it. I mean, we've heard worse.
You're absolutely right.
Those damn raisins.
Yeah, those raisins are something else. But I want to talk about what Willen said that about them saying a distraction. They created this distraction this weekend. The people who were doing it. Yes. They created the NFL teams did that. They created the distraction. It wasn't about, he wasn't creating anything. He was just doing what everybody else was doing. He was waiting to see if he got called.
I think what they're saying is he was creating a distraction. He would create a distraction for the teams. But the thing is too, like, again, all this started circulating. A lot of people don't realize this. They're retiring his number, Shador's number, and Travis Hunter's number at Colorado State. I think it is. I don't remember what school, whatever school they came from. I don't like watching college football because there's too many different divisions. So for me, I'm an NFL girly. I don't like college football. I'm just like, but they're retiring his number. And a lot of conversations started because of the fact that they were like, I understand why they're retiring Travis Hunter's number. Mm-hmm. But when it came to Shador, they were kind of like, he doesn't deserve it. Right. So this is where this narrative started. And it's kind of caused this ripple effect of like, now he's interviewing bad and now he's doing. So it just, to me,
they made up all, and like Don Lemon said, sorry, that he says, no, you're good. And that's what they say. That doesn't mean it happened.
Right. And that's the thing. And I think that a lot of times where it's like, just like there was, I don't remember what commentator on ESPN came out and said, they were just like, for the person that said that he is a bad interviewer, right? You did this as an anonymous quote, come out and say it with your whole chest.
Right.
And I appreciated that because I was like, at a certain point, own it, stand in it, stand 10 toes down in it. The team that he got drafted to, they been needed a quarterback. That's like, he should have went to that team in the first round. I kind of understand why they waited, because in a way it's like, all right, well, if I can get some of these other players, because I know now there's this narrative around this guy, sure. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, all of this just shows that we, to me, as people, are easily manipulated too. Because this too. So for me, all weekend, I'm looking at it, I'm just like, okay, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I understand why you're saying this. I understand what you're doing. You're causing a distraction, and you're making and spinning this publicity, and we always latch on to this stuff, and we're like, I'm just like, just shut up. Everybody be quiet. Sit in it.
I'm gonna definitely share this because here's something that Don was saying this morning. I thought I think he summed it up so well, and it was really. We'll take it from the other side of the video. Hold on a second. Here we go. Because he did such a good job. I was like, boom, boom, boom. Anyway, here we go. Let me get my little cursor over there. Here we go. Now we go.
So they took a question about it at that unusual early White House briefing where they're trying to, here's what they're doing. I think they're trying to get ahead of the story earlier now. Maybe you can expect the White House briefing to happen earlier. Do you know what I'm saying? They're trying to get into and change the narrative of the whole day's news cycle. They're trying to own all of it. They're like, oh, just can't have Fox and Friends do it. We got to get ahead of it and then get our shit out there so that we can change the headlines. Okay, so let me just read to you what I wrote this morning. Okay, and then it'll tell you, this is from the Substack. Okay, let's go, Andy. Let's talk about it. So the rules change when it's your son. Shador Sanders, double standard, and the story America keeps telling. I should say keeps telling itself, or telling on itself. I might have to change that. Excuse me. Okay, so some folks have heard about it, some folks haven't. Like our Nikki's like, my algorithm is all immigration. And I was like, mine was mixed. Mine was about this. Okay, so this is how I start. I say, if you're a sports fan, you already know the headlines. But if you're not, or even if you only caught the surface, you might have missed the deeper story unfolding here. Either way, I want you to take a few minutes and I want you to read this. And I want you guys watching to take a few minutes and I want you to absorb this. And I really want to know in the comments what you think. You may say, Don, what you're writing is unfair. I don't think it's fair. Okay, great. I like that. Either way, Take a few moments and read this, because while on the surface, it may look like a sports story, it's really a story about America and perception versus reality. And in America, especially for Black men, perception often becomes reality, a harsher, heavier reality where the benefit of the doubt is a luxury you rarely receive. Now, you guys know I'm going to tell you like it is. So this photograph I have there is on purpose, because this is a Sanders brothers, the Sanders family. And then below is a Manning family. And I thought it was a good comparison. Some folks may say it's not apples to apples, but thank you, Ursula Harvey. I think it was on point too. But this is to make you think. This is to spark a conversation. And I actually came up with a headline where I forgot what my original headline was, but I said I wanted this to appeal to everyone, including the women and the mothers out there, because they're going to think it's a sports story. So how do you appeal to with their sons? Right? Okay. So that's why I have those two families there.
I mean, it's so blatant here when you see the two families together, it really crystallizes it. But again, Lisa really pointed this out, so I just wanted to make sure that we gave some shout out to Lisa on sharing her thoughts here. Let's continue.
Now go with me. I want you guys to listen to this, okay? I want you to listen. I said there is a ritual in America, almost as old as the game itself. Watch a young Black man rise and then look for ways to humble him. Remember, I don't pull punches. I don't hold back words. Part of the reason why I'm in independent media now. I'm not, I don't sanitize enough. I don't edit enough. I think that the news is about adults and we should be able to talk this way. Shedeur Sanders entered the 2025 NFL draft with everything the system is supposed to reward: talent, discipline, resilience. He left not as a top 5 pick, not even a second round choice, but a 5th rounder, 144th overall. Shocking to a lot of people. Not that they think that he should have been the number 1, should have been in the 1st round, the 2nd round, but to go to 5th, considering his numbers, considering his pedigree. That would be a different story if, I believe, regardless of how he acted in the interviews, they said, oh, he didn't take these interviews seriously, but that's reportedly. I don't know if that's real or not, because I know that a lot of things that are reported about me are fake or false, all lies, but people believe it because it's written. And I know, being in the media, that there is a double standard, especially when it comes to people of color, especially men of color. That is the God's honest truth. He entered 144th overall, not because he couldn't play. Of course, he certainly could. Not because he couldn't lead, not because he lacked the numbers. He threw for over 4,100 yards, 37 touchdowns, and with a 74% completion rate. Okay, now listen to me. Those are better numbers, in fact, than quarterbacks drafted before him this year. Better numbers than Eli Manning had when his father, Archie Manning, reportedly brokered Eli's future from a podium, deciding for him that San Diego wasn't worthy and sending him to New York instead. Now, he denies some of that now, but that is the report. Okay? That's why I said reportedly. And there is Eli and his dad, Archie Manning, right there. Okay? So, no. Keep scrolling up, Andy. Shedeur Sanders fell because of something else, something quieter, something older, something far more familiar. They whispered about his interviews. They said he came across as brash, as too confident, as entitled. Maybe there's some truth to it, I say. Maybe he could have handled it better. Maybe, or maybe not. Because again, this is reportedly. I wasn't in the interviews. You weren't in the interviews. The reporters were not in the interviews. It was between the coaches, probably the owners, or whomever. But this is the perception that people say. This is what reportedly. Maybe, maybe not. But in America, when a young Black man carries himself with certainty, we don't call it self-assurance. We call it trouble. We turn self-belief into a warning sign. We turn pride into a flaw. Now, again, some of you may not hear, oh, Don, this guy was too cocky. Isn't that part of being an athlete, is like being cocky and self-assured? Humility is part of it too, but not everybody has the same personality. And not just for the young. It starts early, but it follows Black men all their lives. Confidence, independence, audacity, qualities that are celebrated in white boys, white men, are treated like threats in Black boys, Black men, especially when the man standing behind you is Deion Sanders, a father who dared to love his son loudly, publicly, unapologetically, especially when the legacy looks like him, meaning Deion Sanders. The legacy looks like Deion Sanders. And there he is with his dad. There he is with his trophies, right? With his awards. Okay, keep going. Keep scrolling up. We saw it before, didn't we? When Archie Manning fought for Eli, it was legacy. When Deion Sanders stands up for Shador, it's ego. When young white quarterbacks exude swagger, it's charisma. When young Black quarterbacks exude the same, it's arrogance. And I give examples. I like to have receipts. It's the same playbook, the same story, the same lie, and it's not new. For example, Cam Newton celebrated touchdowns and was called a showboat. Baker Mayfield celebrated and it was called passion. Lamar Jackson was told maybe he should switch positions. Josh Allen was told he just needed more coaching. Again, go look it up yourself. And I fact-checked all of this. Justin Fields had his work ethic questioned without cause. Mac Jones had his faults glossed over. The double standard has always been there, and every time a Black quarterback stands tall, the system looks for a reason to sit him back down.
And I'll leave it there, and you guys can read the rest on his Substack. But he breaks it down. It's clear. I love good writing. I just love when someone lays it down and you actually follow it. And again, but that's our society. This is when you say, everyone always say, this is not America. It is America. This is who we are. And the sooner we accept it, we can heal from it and become better at what we are as a country. But again, you guys can look at the rest of it.
Thank you, Mr. Lees.
The sooner other people accept it, because we know who they are. We know who this country is and how it functions. I think the other people have to own that and hold themselves accountable, hold this country accountable. Until that happens, we'll have these issues, right?
Yes.
And I know Gwendolyn mentioned, just because you don't go in the first round doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful. Jazzy mentioned what my husband and I were talking about. Tom Brady didn't get drafted into the 6th round.
He was 199 out of 200.
And so that has nothing to do with position. Like, this doesn't have anything to do with success. And I go back to what Jazzy said about how Cleveland drafted him. I think Cleveland was in it too. They did it. They could have and should have drafted him earlier, but they made him hold out there and do that. But that's as Donald Glover said, this is America.
Yeah, this is America.
This is what we know.
This is America. This is who we are as a country. Gwendolyn says,
go ahead.
Gwendolyn says, and college football is nothing like the NFL. You know, it's interesting. I have friends that do not like the NFL, but they love college. They go to all the college games. They get on the road. They do the parking lot stuff. They do everything. Just love it. They love it. But they do not. I have some friends that do not like the NFL. They love college football way better than they love or like NFL.
Well, football, it feels as if they allow you to run up the score. It's like 112 versus 110. It's like, in the real world, if you were playing some serious defense and offense, you wouldn't have that. Right. And we see these college kids, and I'm gonna pick on Tim Tebow really quick because he was whack and still is. But he was that one. He was that great white hype because he was a Christian boy, believed in abstinence, all of that, right? But if you just watch his tape, it's like he's not gonna make it because you can't pass the ball to yourself, run it, and score touchdowns. That don't work. It don't work. And even when he failed the first time, somebody, I'm not going to say, gave him a second chance wants to as a tight end, and he couldn't do that. Okay, you know what? This is not about that. We are not going to do a sports thing this Monday. Miss Lee said she want to talk about sinners. So
let's go to sinners.
I'm going to say this one more thing about the NFL.
Yes.
Let's not forget, many of these owners are the same one that did what they did to Colin Kaepernick. These are the same people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the same ones that voted for Trump.
But we can't forget that part. Exact same people. And when you look at the history, because they had a whole thing in the paper about the history of NFL and how they treated Black people, how at one point they put them all out of the league and then they were bringing them back and all. It was all crazy. But we can't forget the history of these organizations.
Yes.
That's just who they are. That's how they have been over and over again. So that's why I want to say about that.
Speak it. Go ahead, Jesse.
Just say to that point and to us in our response, like for me, I will just say we as a collective have to stop feeding into it, because it's not about what we think about it. It's about how they portray us. Right. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I'm just like, we already know that they are going to spin these narratives the way that they're going to spin them. We know what the media does. They manipulate.
Yes.
But my whole thing is don't share the manipulation of what they are trying to do. Talk about how great he is, sure, but like sharing within the manipulation of it all, I think sometimes like keeps the narrative going and allows them to keep doing it. I'm like, okay, we're not playing that game. I already know your worth, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and the moment we keep like driving it is what keeps the conversation going. And they like that.
Yeah.
They understand that that's what we're going to do. Right. So for me, I'm just like, nah, just like everybody said, he'll be fine. He's going to be a great player and he's going to do what he needs to do. I'm going to jump off because I have to get on a meeting, but
it was great having you, Jazzy.
Bye. And I'll go see Sinners, I guess, because it's not supposed to be scary.
It's not really. I don't like scary movies.
They said it's not scary. It's not
a couple
scary.
Of jump moments, but not scary.
If I go and I get scared, I'm gonna email all y'all and say, see what y'all made me do.
Look, Jazzy, you know I drive to meet you at the theater, girl.
That's right. You guys are neighbors.
I get scared very easily, but all right, bye.
Bye.
Take. You have to have Elise go with you. A second, you go for your face.
So on the center side. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Elise.
I want to go back to where you were talking about Ryan's deal. I love the interview where the woman talks to him about the deal. And Ryan informs her, this is not the first time.
It's not the first time. Yes, right. He said this is not the first time any of this has been done.
It's been done before.
Yes.
It's not the first time.
Yes.
And he said, I've done all of these projects that will forever be owned by someone else.
Yes.
This one is special to me. So I want to make sure that I would own it. But this type of deal has been done by not just this studio.
He as a director and writer.
And so she said, why do you think that happened? He said, I have my ideas. She said, what? He said, he just started chuckling. I'm just not going to talk about it.
And she knew what he was saying, but
she knew, and we all know. Because
we all
it's been done before. Why are you making it such a big deal?
Why are you
making it? He corrected in that same interviewer.
Yes.
And she was talking about the Black Panther and how successful it was, and him as a Black director. He said, wait a minute, about the movie. He said, wait, it was the most successful movie, period, when it came out.
Yes.
It had nothing to do with Blackness.
Yes.
It was amongst all movies. It wasn't separated out. So I like the fact that when he's talking, when he's in these interviews, he doesn't allow them to control the narrative. He actually subtly states the facts about the reality. It's only Black because you said it was Black. I made a movie.
Black Panther wasn't a Black movie. It was a Marvel movie.
And the movie made money, right?
Yes.
As compared to everybody else's movie. It had nothing to do with him as a Black director being successful. It was a successful movie, period. And I like his responses when he do that. When he talks like that, because when you listen to him and his responses, he's very calm in his responses, but he makes it clear that race is in there. That is about the race of people. And then he makes sure that you understand, I'm not going to let you tainted with just saying something about that I'm Black, but really appreciating the fact that this is a movie who came out with 100 Rotten Tomato score. This is a great movie.
A great
and like
movie.
Gwendolyn said, I also say, listen, I'm going to go back and see the movie, because I'm one of those people, when I read and when I watch movies or anything, I always connect with messages in those things. There are a lot of messages. For you to get them all, you would have to go back and look at it again, just to be able to, and you still will miss something, right?
Well, they said it is layered with history.
My son has seen it 3 times, Ron. And I told you to go to the Lincoln Center one, because if they're still doing it, you'll get a piece of the strip, because it's one of the few,
oh, right here in New York on the Lincoln Center,
right? Because it's one of the few 70 millimeter film theaters in the country.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to.
There's one in Dallas, G.
Really?
There are only 30 in the world. The entire world, there are only 30 of those theaters that will show it like that. My son said it was definitely a different experience to watch it at, because he's seen it on that and some other stuff too. So he's seen it on all
kinds of screens.
But I also will say this: one thing, it has an amazing soundtrack. Go and listen to the soundtrack, the entire soundtrack, and pay close attention to the theme song, Sinners. If you don't even listen to the whole soundtrack, listen to Sinners. You get almost all the messages he's conveying in that film from that song. Everything. And someone asked me, I went to Esteban's thing on Friday, the art exhibit, right? So this guy started talking about Sinners. I think he brought it, asked me had I seen Sinners. I said, yeah. So he brought it up. He said, what do you think about, the use of vampires? And this is not a spoiler of anything. Right. I said, even though I'm not really a person who likes horror, and my daughter has a good description of what she says this is, and I'll tell you all about it. So I told him, I said, I understood the use of vampires. I said, because it's not about them being vampires per se. It's about what they are trying to get from you by sucking things out of you. So it's not about the blood sucking. It's about, and when you hear it is in there, when he's standing at the door, he says it. He says what he wants. He says what he got from, I think it was Stat. When he said what they got from him.
He did.
And so I'm not gonna say it like I will sit here, I'll wait till people see it.
Yes.
It is about how they suck. Their intention is to suck everything out of our
existence,
out of us, control it and own it.
Yes.
And so I tell anyone that soundtrack is amazing, but that song, the theme song, Sinners. I was in my car talking to myself and putting it on repeat just to make sure I'm hearing all the words, because I pay attention to lyrics in songs just like I do details in movies and books. All of those things are the same to me. I always look for the details. But that movie, for anyone who has not seen it, and I'm sure anyone who's seen it may have gone already to see it more than once. But if you haven't seen it, put aside any thoughts of it may frighten me or scare. Which the part that you should be concerned about is what it's about. That's the part, and be able to recognize what it's about. Even money. And I had to ask my husband. I said, "So the money? Did you notice the money in her hand in the transaction?" He's like, "No, I didn't pay attention to the money." I said, "Well, I have examples of that money on my wall because I have an artist created a series called The Color of Money, and he was looking for the images of Black people on money, and it was on Confederate money. So I have original artwork and bills on my wall from that period of time. And so it's a lot in there. Every little detail, and I saw that detail immediately. Every little thing, there's a tremendous message in it, and it makes you want to go back and look at the history, right? There's so much, everything in there was historical. He didn't just randomly write something. This man wrote from history.
But you want to hear something, if I may interject?
Go ahead.
They said what was also record-breaking is that he had a thought. He was sitting in some place. He had a thought. And from thought to the theater was less than a year. It took 11 months.
When
from
something
thought,
is,
from the thought of his, and just thinking of it, to the movie screen on the big screen, less than a year, 11 months.
And when something hits you like that, it's like, you got to just go on and do that, right?
And they went right into production.
And I think it would be interesting to sit, and you may have been in that kind of environment when you were at the artist's house, to sit in a mixed group and see how white people understand what was there. And how they accept what was there. And in him showing the history, he also educated people on a group of people in the Delta that most people don't think about. They don't think about the Asians in the Delta.
Yes.
Which what it did was, there's a young woman who did a documentary on the Chinese in the Mississippi Delta. Now everybody's looking at her documentary again. She did it a while ago. So it's like these things actually reinvigorate somebody. And I think that's what he's done. I think it's very provocative. And so when talking to my daughter, and she put this in her stories, and she said, it's not a horror story. It's not a scary movie. She said she would categorize it as an epic. She said, from looking at the details for what epics are, it's an epic.
Yes.
And that the focal point, and this is not giving away, that the character, we know who is in the picture because they are well known, right? But the center is not necessarily the well-known person in there. I don't know whether so the center is actually, she said, if you think about it, it's epic because it really is, the main story is Sammy.
You know, it's interesting. I'm really excited about I'm excited about this period. I'm gonna let you guys go because I'm gonna talk about the Monday motivation. But I looked at the writer and the director of this film, and also Kendrick Lamar.
Ryan Coogler, yes.
There are some similarities in their process, how they think, and even how they communicate. And I was like, there's something going on in this generation. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but there's something going on, and the wheels are churning with these young Black men and women that are looking at history and also producing, writing, and directing and creating. They are really, most people want to sleep on this generations, but they're really doing some mind-boggling things in entertainment and in storytelling.
But go ahead, Gwendolyn. I see
Gwendolyn.
Well, no, as he was talking about like Kendrick Lamar and Ryan, I was thinking, I mean, we have the video, This Is America by Donald Glover.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So there's always been this move of we all know it. I need you guys to recognize it.
Right. And
so
I think
it could be, you know.
Yeah. And I think Donald Glover was like that one that just like, I'm not just here. I don't care if y'all like this, but I want you all to hear this. I want you to understand where we are. And
when he did that video,
what America really is, right?
Yes.
And I think, we have to understand that's why the two things that regimes like the one in office come for is education and the arts.
Mm-hmm.
There's a real reason, because the arts are where life unfolds, where the artists tell the story. Kendrick Lamar, and they both from California, by the way, and they both have stutters. That's a different thing.
Yeah, I said they're very similar people. I mean, come from different backgrounds, but similar.
But I think that we have to. They are saying, what I think the message is coming from them is, we're going to tell the stories. We're going to let people know and not worry about it. And people will hear it. Mm-hmm. And they've proven that people hear it by their success, right? That all people are listening. And so with them, they're tired of people just entertaining just to entertain and make money.
Yes.
Amen to that.
Being intentional. They are intentional.
They're very intentional, and they're saying, I always have to equate it to when Don Lemon left. When Don Lemon knew he was going to get fired, right?
Yes.
They are coming out guns blazing.
Yes.
And saying, I'm going to put it in your face. Some of y'all going to have to see it 10 times before you get it, but you're going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a part of it is also divine order for me. Like, we need these moments. Just like I was telling someone the other day, the pandemic and the time that we're in right now, these last 5 years, as a Black community, we needed these last 5 years because we had become so disconnected, so complacent, so go along to get along.
Yes.
That we were allowing ourselves to be systematically destroyed and not fighting for it. And we had to understand that we had to come back in communities like this and any other space. When I'm in the art space with people, I talk just the way I'm talking now. The same exact messages. So we have to continue to have these conversations online, offline. But this time was meant for us specifically as a people. Mm-hmm. So that we can see where all the vitriol is. Because if you're in the South or wherever, they gonna they in your face with it all. But now you're getting to see the covers come off everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Every sheet,
the country is totally naked.
Every bald head that allowed hair to grow on it so they could become a part of the oppressive police system. All of those people are now showing who they are.
They're showing you who they are. And
you're seeing some horrific things that the media, the mainstream media, isn't talking about. And it's and we have to make sure that what we have to continue to do is what we do on here. We have to be radical on these platforms. That's up to us. We cannot allow the platforms to use us. We have to use the platforms.
Yes.
And the Prince said that too. Prince said something about the computers and the internet. He said that about the internet. He said about the internet not using you. He said
that's right.
So
you did.
I saw someone use. There was a clip last week when they were celebrating his death.
His death.
They shared that particular clip about his They call it his prophecy of the social media and technology.
And I'll say this last thing about all of this for us. We have to stop coveting what they have to the point that we sacrifice each other.
Yes.
That's what we've been doing. See, I'm not worried about the Beehive's concerts and all. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about what are we doing? Is there a voter registration desk outside of her concerts? She can start now. Because Taylor Swift did it.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't like her. But my thing is, we have got to understand that.
Start using our tools, using our resources.
And stop doing what they wanted us to do, that they implanted individualism in us so that you can only care about me and mine. But we've never, our heritage is
about
us.
The community. It's about
I had that conversation last week.
Yeah, we had that last week. That's what
we'll have to do that tomorrow, baby. I know you got your list.
We got a lesson to go through. But I and I'm gonna close on that thought is on before we do our Motivation Monday, is that when you look at all of the communities around the world, indigenous, where they come from. It is all about community. Yes. It is community is what makes everything work. Community. And then in the somehow in this American thing of this churning, whoever the programmers are,
right,
they may
call thing a thing.
Well, I'm just saying whoever the individual, I don't know the names of the individuals, but someone sat around the table. We know white people did it, but sitting around the table, someone said, let's make it and paint it communism and make it an evil thing. Like, let's make community an evil thing. You know what I'm saying? Like taking care of your brother, taking care of your fellow human. That became, it was made intentionally in our country to be a bad thing, where you have people to this day, oh, that's communist, or I don't want that European system because it's too, it's communist.
Until you tell them the truth, right? The reason we don't have universal health care is because they said Black people will be insured.
Yes.
You have to tell them the truth. It has nothing to do with communism. It has to do with you don't want to take care of people. And, but it's also taking care of people is evil for them.
Yeah, but I do believe also, at least, it's more than just the Black people. I mean, think about, it
is. You have to admit that, Ron, I'm going to stop you.
I admit that it is Black.
We're going to stop because it started with them specifically saying out of their mouths that they didn't want Black people to be insured. So it started with them.
But I'm saying in general, I'm giving a speak across the board as in saying that it was a system construction that all you look at communities around the country, they have been put into all these little silos to make others think if they get what I have, then I'm losing out. Now we know it all began obviously with Black slavery. As slavery, people came out of slavery. We all know that. It's more than just Black people.
So I was looking I was looking for my book, right? I was looking for Cass. I know. My book is upstairs.
I know where you are. I know where you are, sister.
It's the Cass system. I just want us to fully embrace.
I get it. I know where I know where you're coming from.
Let me finish. I want us to fully embrace. It started with us.
Yes.
Then we fought for everyone to have certain rights.
Yes.
The civil rights. So everybody got those.
Yes.
Move it to now, they've somehow, the Heritage Foundations and all the people behind them, and the Federalist, the Heritage Foundation and the Federalist Society have gotten those people now to see us as the enemy and not even understand that they have what they have because of us.
Yes.
Because we can never say that we have to always understand that the foundation of it is our caste society, which was built on racism. And I'm not even talking about just slavery, just race and racism, because that creates a schism within the body.
Yes.
And that's their main goal, to keep us scattered
divided.
And divided, and not allowing the 99% to understand we all in the same bucket. I keep telling people we all in that bucket. And I understand, Ron, I do understand exactly what you were saying.
Okay.
I understand that it is impacting because now because it started with us, but it's spread to anyone else that's non-white male.
There you go.
Quote unquote heterosexual male.
Yes.
And Christian.
Yes.
So it started with
quote
unquote
with the Christian within the quotations.
Heterosexual and Christian, because we got to put all of that stuff. Because that's how they label themselves. We know the truth, right?
Yes.
And so anyone that's not them, is being impacted.
Exactly.
So that part, I mean, that's where we are. But it all started because of their trying to put their foot on the necks of other people, the indigenous people and the Black people in this country.
Yeah.
So it started there, and it's now become the group that needs to wake up at some point in their life are all white women. Because
well, we know we got. I'm trying to keep it moving so I can get these folks up. But
I know.
We could continue this on Wednesday, but this is. I mean, it's such a deep conversation, and we will always continually be on it because there's so many aspects to it. But yeah, I am agreeing. I'm agreeing with you 100%. And
look, the only thing I want to say before we leave is pray for that man over there in Burkina Faso. Keep him protected.
You try.
No, I'm not going to start anything.
I
just want to end it right
You
there.
know how my brain is. You know that I've already been on this. Abram, I think his name is Abram, right? Abram, such and such. He's the he's the president or the prime minister of his country.
Gotta keep the lion lifted.
And they try to kill. I do believe they've already tried to kill him 12 times.
So then they had that.
But we ain't going down there.
I'm not gonna do that.
We can't. We can't. But
I stopped myself.
But you know how we are. We all you know how Lee's. Now you know we get together and we talk.
All skin folks that are kin folks and that black man with that uniform speaking clear English need to be quiet. That's all I'm gonna say.
Man.
I'm sorry, Ron.
You ain't no need to apologize. You know what's good? This is what I like about a community is that this is what you do in communities. Like when people used to gather in the marketplace or at the church or hang. I remember the old dudes at the Baptist church when I was a kid. They would be going at it. They'd be like, but they would be talking truth. Because if you're reading stuff, if you're learning, you can't wait to share it and spar and become more. The more you talk about a subject, but you are right. That one in Africa because he is the youngest.
Free education.
He's the youngest leader of a country in Africa, but the rest of the leaders are being led by him. And I'll leave it at that. Continuation.
And Africa is the youngest continent too, as far as people.
Yes.
The age they have the youngest.
Yes, the largest population.
Oh, about the White House. Ain't nobody.
White House Secretary said this got drafted because of dumb stuff. Please.
We don't have time for that today.
Yeah. Save it for Wednesday, Bryson said. Save it for Wednesday.
I'm making the list, Mr. Lees, for Wednesday. I got the list. You be ready on Wednesday.
You got the list.
Be ready on Wednesday.
And Gwendolyn will have the list going. I'm going to be upset that I won't be here. Wow, my gosh.
You have to watch the recap.
I have to recap my own show.
And Chris will be here too.
Yes. You guys are gonna be going. Y'all gonna be taking it down. Okay, guys, let's go to the videotape. Later, ladies. I'm letting them go. Had to let them go. They are just too good. Too good, right? That was too good. Okay, here we go. Let's get this on the screen. So that it's a quickie. So it's gonna be a quick one today. This is our Motivation Monday. So this is what we talk about. So let's go in. Let's dive into this topic. And we are talking about where do you stand? Where do you stand? Let's pop this in here. Hold on a second. There we go. Where do you stand? And Motivation Monday. Okay, here we go. We're set. Motivation Monday. Where do you stand? A reminder from legendary photographer Ansel Adams. Now, I was at the event this weekend at Photos. Shout out to, again, the people of AIPAD for the amazing photography show here in New York City. It was great. But I was inspired by Ansel Adams, and I wanted to share something about that today. So here we go. A reminder from legendary photographer Ansel Adams. A good photograph is knowing where to stand. In photography, perspective is everything. It determines what the lens sees and how a story unfolds in a single frame. The same holds true in life. Where you choose to stand, the perspective we adopt, and the angles from which we view challenges, opportunities, and relationships can transform our outcomes. This week, take a moment to shift your perspective. Ask yourself, am I standing in a place, right, Elise, that lets me see the full picture? Could I move to find a clearer, more meaningful view? Whether it is stepping back to see the big picture or moving closer to focus on the details. Your perspective shapes and narratives. Challenge for the week: seek a new standpoint in one area of your life. You might be surprised at the clarity and creativity it brings. Make it a great week. Your week's outcome will depend on you. So, guys, it's all about perspective. It's all how you stand. Where do you stand on your matters? Where do you stand on family? Where do you stand on your faith? Where do you stand? Where do you stand? And don't be afraid to change your perspective. I love that about Ansel Adams. I love that about photographers. We can change what you see by changing our perspective. Okay, guys, have a great week. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Thank you, Elise. Thank you, Jazzy. Thank you, the great Gwendolyn. We had a great time, as always. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Our Tip Tuesday, we'll be doing some smart tips for our smartphones. And I think we have it. Make sure you hit the likes. Make sure you hit put in the comments if you enjoyed this. Put it into the comments what you enjoyed about the show. Put it in the comments. Let us know. I see y'all. Y'all gonna have a good time on Wednesday. I can tell. We don't need that, Ron. Y'all gonna have a great time on Wednesday. I can't wait to hear about it. Amy says, great conversation. And Lisa says they want everyone to be beholden to him. And that was the topic earlier. And Tom says, so glad I made it this morning. We welcome you, Tom. We miss you. When you're here, we celebrate. Nice. Great job, guys. Thank you again. Thank you for popping on. And again, have a great Monday. Have a great week. I will see you tomorrow. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, and leave a comment on this video. I would love to hear from you. Thank you again. Until I see you next time.